So Adidas have given us their latest set of earnings for Q4, as well as their ambitions for 2025, the period between now and then, and how they're looking to grow the business. What's important about this as well is that this event was when the company were going to give us an update on how the disposal of the Reebok business is going. So I'm going to start with some of the headline earnings. Sales for the quarter were up 1%. People were expecting, or analysts were expecting them to have declined by 1%. So that's a better outcome there. Inventories, all important. We've talked a lot, particularly over the last year, about how important it is to not have too much inventory, because then you're having to reduce the price of it to sell it off cheap. But if you haven't got enough inventory, then you're missing out on sales. People want to buy some stuff, you haven't got it in stock, so they'll go and buy it elsewhere. So they said that their inventories had been reduced by 300 million euros. Now, if we look at where the overall inventory number is now compared to this time last year, it's actually up 8%. Now, sometimes you might have alarm bells ringing, but the company aren't worried at all, and that's because it's made up of the right products. It's made up of evergreen products. They call them evergreen. It's basically more neutral colours that, whilst they might be seasonal products, they don't necessarily go out of fashion. It could be black or plain white or blue, jogging bottoms, jumpers, etc. Stuff that if it doesn't sell, it can go away. They can bring it back out for the following season, and it doesn't need to be reduced. The other stuff that they have been or have an increased inventory of is event-related products. Now, COVID has caused delays to the Olympics, to European soccer championships, etc., etc. These events will be going ahead, and these are all products that can be brought out in conjunction with those events, so they're not worried about having a larger amount of them. In fact, it's good business to have that. So on to Reebok. They're still searching for a buyer. They've said they have lots of interest, but the key here is that it's still not been sold. Surely if there was that much demand, then by now someone would have come forward to buy the business. They describe Reebok as being better leveraged away from the Adidas brand. What they've announced today is that Adidas are taking a 250 million euro charge on the Reebok business, because whilst they're setting Reebok up to be sold as a standalone business, they've been sharing some of the platforms, some of the staff, etc. with Reebok, between Reebok and Adidas, so they need to make some allowances to be able to pass Reebok on as a standalone business. So they need to be able to create those platforms, etc. for Reebok. Now, looking forward to 2025, they want to grow their revenues between 8 and 10% per annum, so some nice steady growth there. They've also said that they want to return between 8 and 9 billion euros to shareholders via dividends and share buybacks. This is, if you are a shareholder, an added bonus, if you like, of being a shareholder is that you might get paid a dividend once or twice a year. It's just some of the profits that the company make are being paid back to the shareholders. An alternative way they can do that is they can buy back their own shares. It basically means that they're removing shares from the market by buying them themselves, which ultimately means that it should help the share price rise. So they're calling their 2025 ambitions Own the Game. They split it into 3 main categories. The first one was they want to increase the brand credibility. The second is they want to elevate customer experience. And the third is they want to push boundaries in sustainability. So on the first one, this increasing the brand credibility, they talk that their new strategy is still going to be deeply rooted within sport. They want to be number 1 or number 2 in each of their key categories. This is football, running, outdoors, etc. One that they mentioned they're going to be exiting, if you like, is field hockey. They obviously don't feel they can get to number 1 or number 2, or it's not economically viable to do so. With regards to geographies, they're going to double down in 3 strategic areas. That's Greater China, the United States, and EMEA. They say that those 3 regions are going to be about 90% of the growth through to 2025. They said that athleisure is the biggest growth opportunity, and they want to grow the women's part of the business faster than any other area. DTC, we've talked a lot about this in the last couple of years, direct to consumer. They want that to account for 50% of their net sales by 2025. Remember, this COVID period with regards to the shutdowns of stores and bricks and mortar meant that a lot of these businesses were looking at around 30% of DTC, and Nike have already said near term 40%, they want to get to 50%. Well, Adidas are saying the same. So 2025, by then they want that to be 50% of net sales. They are going to still obviously have their wholesale business as well, but they're going to be with strictly selected wholesale partners. Some interesting development on the brands. They're going to have sort of three separate brands. Adi Performance, that is going to be best products for athletes, basically. The Originals part of the business is being pushed to the other end of the spectrum. This is for new culture, sort of worn on the streets, etc. And that gap in the middle, you're going to have Adidas Sportswear slotting in. That's stuff that's born from sports, but sort of is morphing in towards more sort of style, self-expression, and comfort. So they're going to have three separate main brands. So that's Adi Performance, right at the performance end for athletes. Originals is going to be right at the other end, the street side of things, and then that opens up this gap for the sportswear athleisure from sport into sort of style, if you like. On to part two, elevating customer experience. They want to double the amount of Halo stores that they have. Now, these are sort of key flagship stores. They were highlighting the London flagship store in the West End, the gender-neutral Carnaby Street store that they have, and then they were talking quite a bit about Dubai, the store they have there, where there's lots of electronic touch points where if you're a customer you can go in, presumably using their apps, etc., and you can interact with stuff in the store using handheld devices, etc. On the membership side of things, obviously they've launched their new platform that is similar to Nike's Sneakers app. They want to treble the amount of members they have on that platform to about 500 million by 2025. They want to do personalized experiences for their most trusted customers. Remember, it's all about keeping hold of your customers. If you have them on your platform, you can keep hold of them and you can offer them products. You can incentivize them in lots and lots of different ways. On hype drops, they talked about triple-digit hype drops per annum. So that equates to at least 2 a week. So lots still to come there. And obviously one of the big things for Adidas, a lot of people are really, really looking forward to, is the collaboration side with Jerry Lorenzo. Now, they did touch on this a few times. They talked particularly about wanting to disrupt basketball. The Jerry Lorenzo products, we're going to start getting sneak peeks this year, but they said the products are going to start to release in 2022. I'm not sure if there have been what the sort of speculation around any of the first products might be, but they specifically, because they were talking about disrupting basketball and for obvious reasons, they specifically picked out the Forum silhouette, which would make a lot of sense considering it was the shoe that Michael Jordan was wearing before he went over to Nike. So let's watch out for some stuff as the year goes on with regards to Jerry Lorenzo and the Forum shoe. Lastly, just on the third section, pushing boundaries in sustainability. They want 9 out of the 10 articles that they're going to be selling to be some kind of sustainability by 2025. And by that, they mean coming from 3 sort of sub areas within sustainability. You're going to have made from recycled materials. You're going to have made to be remade. So that's this future loop product that they've been talking about. And they did have what looked like a high top. They called it a hiker, a boot that was looked like part of the loop product. And they said that that's going to be coming out in fall. And there's made with natural or renewable materials. They've already signed a deal with Allbirds, and they said that there's going to be a low impact shoe coming out next year. And interestingly, we're all looking at various different materials, etc. They've got a mushroom-based material. It's called Mylo, M-Y-L-O, and it performs like leather. And they said that a Stan Smith version made of Mylo is probably going to be one of the first products that they use that on. So lots and lots to get teeth into, but it's clear that the company are really wanting to get back to basics with their 3 core brands within Adidas. They really want to throw the gauntlet down to get the consumer and the customer on side, and it's all about that experience and keeping them enthused about the brand. And sustainability obviously is always going to be a big thing. And they do think they're market leaders, not only in the amount of sustainable stuff they've got in the pipeline, but the amount of money that they're throwing at it and what they're doing basically. Now the shares closed up on the day almost 3%. They were higher when some of this detail was coming out, but they did just drift off of those higher levels. So plenty to get excited about. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on their push for sort of growing the women's business faster. What are you thinking about the sustainability? What could they do to help you get a better customer experience? I'd be interested to know, so please put the comments below. Make sure that you are following Andy Wilson, the Sneakonomist, on Instagram and at Full Frame Kicks, as well as on YouTube, the Full Frame Kicks channel with notifications, etc., all alarmed, so you get the up-to-date stuff as and when it drops. Thanks for tuning in.